All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Mortgage Coach Tuesday interview. Every Tuesday, 9 o'clock, we are here to bring inspiration, strategies, ideas to not only crush it in the mortgage business, but to have fun in the mortgage business and to create wow for the consumers that you serve and for the partners that give you referrals. I am with my co-host live in Scottsdale, Arizona. What's up?
What's up? It's fun to, as always, to hang out with Dave. Although it's then just a little awkward to have to look at each other while we're talking, but nonetheless, it is a blast to have you here. It was fun to spend some time, and it's always great to get to do this together. And it's always fun that we're going to shine a light on our third co-host.
Yeah, no, we're going to do something different today. So instead of saying, Deborah Byrd is our co-host today, we're going to say she is our special guest today. She has been rocking it on social media, upgrading her game in terms of the loan officers that she's a mentor to, that she, helps with their social media. And we just think as we prepare for spring home buying season, January, we focused on client for life. We focused on what's happening in the market. We closed out with Dan Rawich, giving us a market update. But I think as we prepare for spring home buying season, it's important that our social media game is on. We're building our brand. We're doing one-to-many marketing. While a lot of folks will say, spring home buying season starts in April, we think the preparation you do in February and March is really what's going to dictate your success. So we're going to focus on that. Before we bring Deborah on, I just want to go around the room and get just less than 1 minute of thoughts on the Tom Brady retirement announcement today. I saw that on Instagram, and my first impressions were, bummer. I would have liked to see the guy make another run at it, so I was bummed. But then I went through it and I read it, and the way, started off with a cool picture, and then he literally, said thank you to a lot of folks. He shared his reason, and all I did is I went like, this guy is the greatest ever. And I also, the thought I had in my mind is that is the greatest retirement announcement I have ever read. It's the most comprehensive, the most well thought out, super authentic. Deborah, why don't you give 30 seconds to a minute of your thoughts, Todd, and then we'll see if Jacalyn wants to share any thoughts on that. She's a Bronco fan, so she may want to not. But Deborah, what did you think about that?
I was sad at first. I mean, I love his story, and, for someone to be 44 and playing in the NFL and to overcome just watching the history of his story. And if anyone hasn't seen the ESPN Man in the Arena series, it's phenomenal. It's a great one to watch with your kids too. But what I took away, and I've really been obsessed with the Greg Carvel podcast that Dave shared last year, but the character accumulation. And when you think of great leadership, I always think of your ability to influence, and you can influence either in a positive way or in a negative way. And no matter where Tom was, or what critics or haters or people calling him a cheat or too old or needs to get out of the game or never going to be able to win a Super Bowl, he didn't let that noise interfere with his focus and his plan and his determination. And he worked when he was tired, and he hired coaches. He had the mental coach and the physical coach beyond just the best coaches in the NFL, probably. So I just think he's a great example of no matter your talent, you still need a coach for mentorship and for your, physical and mental health. And then also the focus of just tuning out some of the noise. And I think with social, how that relates, just for like a little quick blurb, is when you start putting yourself out there on social, you do get haters and critics too. So I'll let someone else kind of share their takeaways on it. But let me tell you, my morning started where I woke up to a DM on Instagram of Dave sharing the news. And I was like, I was really hoping that it wasn't going to be true. So I'm repping my Brady shirt, even though I'm a Cowboys fan, but I'm always going to be a Brady fan.
Love that. Todd, what were your thoughts?
My thoughts is he's truly the GOAT, right? I actually remember, watching with friends when I was getting my MBA. We were in a group project and watching him win his first Super Bowl and being impressed back then with who he was and how he jumped in and did stuff. And I wasn't a huge fan of him over the years. I was a big fan of him when he lost to my Eagles in the Super Bowl. I was at that game, but I became a diehard fan when I saw what he did of, taking the choice to go to Tampa, to go there and to win a Super Bowl, proved that he is the best. I think what you said, Deb, you kind of nailed it, is the fact that he is someone that knew, if I'm going to be the greatest in my 40s, then I'm going to have better discipline than everyone else. And I think that is the message that I think as a loan officer you should be looking at is, how is my discipline compared to Tom Brady's? Can I be the Tom Brady of the mortgage business? Because yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, I read that retirement on Instagram twice. I thought it was really well thought out. But really, if you think about it, he named all the people who really supported him. But he'd make that choice, right? He was intentional about his decisions around training, around the mental health, around the coaching, and really how he spent his time. You know, he wasn't the guy that you saw out there in Vegas partying it up every weekend. He was the guy who actually pursued the daily disciplines that he needed to be the best. And I'm sure that he thinks he should be winning the Super Bowl again this year. I think a lot of people do. And it would have been fun to see him win one more, come back and do another. But, you know, kudos to him, and, you know, thanks for everything he did.
Yeah, right on. Jacalyn, anything you want to add?
Should we introduce
Broncos? No, I mean, I'm a Broncos fan, so by my nature, I have to hate Tom Brady. But I certainly respect the talent and all of the hard work. I've never followed his career. It's because I don't like him. But again, I absolutely respect all of the work that he put in and everything else. But yeah, I'm orange and blue all day, and that's kind of just where I stay. So
I love that. Go Broncos. I'm a Bronco fan as well.
You know what? You know who it reminded me of was how much kind of what Jonathan Roach preaches and practices too. That not being disciplined, not only in your physical game, but you know what he ate. Did y'all both see the special on ESPN with just how?
Yeah. No, his
every little anything he consumed. I mean, he had a performance coach.
Yeah, well, that's my closing thought. When Todd finished reading it, he said, "Do you think he had someone help him write it?" And the answer is, I don't know. But I do know this. I guarantee you he has a social media coach. He has a brand coach, and he is a student of what he does. And if you read the announcement, whether you like him or don't like him, you go, wow, that's really good messaging. That's really good leadership. And it's impressive. So let's take that. And we're going to have a conversation now with Deborah and one of her clients, a red belt, badass mortgage coach from Denver, Colorado. Jacalyn, welcome to the mortgage coach community. Jacalyn, this is not the first time I've interviewed you, but it's been years, right?
yeah, I don't remember the last time actually.
Well,
yeah.
The one thing I remember about the last time is you were in your desk and I was like, what's that on the wall? And you had these beautiful thank you notes.
Yeah.
That
my gratitude wall.
The gratitude wall that were super inspirational, and they also looked really cool.
Yeah.
Do you still have that gratitude wall going?
I have a new gratitude wall because I've moved offices. So I had to go through, it was really hard because that wall's been up for like almost 5 years at my previous office. And so I started a whole new wall. So I'm excited to add to it this year. So I saved all of my favorite ones because I had like wedding announcements, birth announcements, and things like that from clients. So it's spanned a really long time. And then it felt weird. I'm like, what do I do with all of these now? Because they're 5 or 6 years old. And some of them are so old that the print had faded. I'm like, I don't even know who wrote this one. But so I held on to all of my favorite ones and I just started a new one.
Well, I can't wait to do a longer interview with you. If you're game, I
Sure.
would love to do a top producer interview with you. Could you tell everyone, what kind of production you're doing nowadays and how you use Mortgage Coach?
Yeah. So last year I did 190 units for around 77 million. So a little bit less than the year prior. We'll see kind of what happens this year with rates and all that stuff. But I do a TCA on every single client I speak with, whether they're ready to move forward today or we're just talking numbers. We do one every single time. We use it multiple times throughout the process. And then we do a skip the bagel, skip the coffee, kind of here's how to pay off your debt faster approach with a first payment reminder after the loan closes. So it's a massive part of my business.
So we've got to call on that because I do know you're one of those mortgage professionals that every family that does business with you, they get a good transaction, they get a loan, but they get a little bit of fiscal literacy. You're really passionate around that. So I would love to hear more, but we'll do that on a different call of how you, after closing, you remind them about how to pay it off faster.
Well, can I throw something? I mean, think about it, all of you. If I know in my career, I didn't have a wall behind me of all the thank you notes, birth announcements, wedding invitations from my clients, and I thought I did a pretty good job. So kudos to you, because I think that really obviously speaks to not just being a great loan officer, but it's also you're a great relationship builder with your clients. And if you're going to truly have a client for life business, there's no doubt that you've got one of the best that I'm aware of.
Yeah. One more little lesson, like a nugget to something. On Thanksgiving, we did a fireside chat. And part of that fireside chat, we did a debrief on a podcast by Andrew Huberman, who's the neurology professor for Stanford. And by the way, his podcast is awesome. It's called Huberman Labs. But he did a whole thing around gratitude practices and netting it out for everyone. The most powerful gratitude practice is reading thank you notes. Or receiving gratitude from someone. That is what triggers the chemicals in your mind and in your body that give you the benefit of a gratitude practice. So you obviously figured out how to do that, Jacalyn. So let's bring Deborah on stage. Deborah, really, Todd and I will moderate, but the rest of the call is yours to share what you think is important around social media. I did position this around social media and clients for life, but feel free to go as broad as you want on the topic. Community, if you have questions, put them in chat. Todd and I will be paying attention to chat, both in our Zoom community as well as in our Facebook group. And if you're watching this in YouTube, put your questions and comments and we'll get to them. And if you haven't subscribed to YouTube, make sure you do it.
Hey, can I throw one quick thing in there too? Is remember that now you've got to register for Zoom for each call going forward. And so we'll make sure that we put down below where to find it on the Mortgage Coach website. And we'll try to do a great job of putting it in here with all the announcements. But remember, it's obviously always going to be streaming live in the Facebook community, but you do need to register now each week for each call if you want to be in Zoom.
And I'll show you guys how to do that. But if you go to our website, there's a resource section. There's a daily, or I think it's called weekly live trainings or daily live trainings. But if you want to go to a training, you need to sign up for it. So we'll talk more about that. But Deborah, where would you like to start this conversation? And we'll leave it to you to bring Jacalyn in and out of the conversation.
Well, ironically, Jacalyn was just in Dallas less than 24 hours ago when we did a content day for her. And I just want to put in perspective, Jacalyn is a true professional. She's got grit. She's got fight in her. She's very sarcastic and she has a beautiful singing voice. So if any of y'all saw the video I posted in the Mortgage Coach community of her singing, okay, how did it go, Jacalyn? You got to bust out a few tunes here.
Oh no.
I like pre-approvals and I cannot lie.
Yes, like pre-approvals and I cannot lie. You other agents can't deny. If an offer comes in with a Zenith pre-approval, you yell sold.
Anyway, so what I love about Jacalyn is she's so authentic and real, and it's not just about the trends or the algorithms, but it goes back to her core values. And I don't want to compare to Tom Brady because I know Jacalyn is not a huge fan of Tom Brady, but when you look at Tom's personal brand, and no matter when he was at New England or if he was at Tampa Bay, he was committed to a certain level of excellence, and he proved it day in and day out. It wasn't just hype. It wasn't just things that he told clients that he did. It was something that he truly owned as a core value. And, some of the things I got to learn about you, Jacalyn, yesterday is exactly the type of loan officer that we want to echo and amplify into the social space so that we are connecting the families who need good advice with the lenders who actually care to give it. And so, Jacalyn, I'll let you kind of go through your story, just a little bit of how you got into mortgages and why even you reached out to us and then further went to scheduling a content day, which shows commitment, shows that you value education and supplying knowledge to your client base so that you are creating a client for life. It's really just another form of a CRM and database management. So Jacalyn, why don't you kind of share with the world why you hired us and then took the big plunge and scheduled the content day?
Yeah, I think the biggest reason that I decided to hire you guys is because I know I need to have a lot more of a presence on social media just to gain that reputation of a reputable person who's going to have good information that you can trust, and just to start to create that relationship and a little bit more like camaraderie with myself and agents that I work with, and then with clients as well. And just to be more visible, because I can't get in front of more people if I'm not utilizing all the platforms that are out there, and recognizing that we're in an age where everybody's researching everything and we're checking reviews and everything else, that having a media presence of some kind is really, really important. And I know I can win deals all day long, but I can't win them if I don't ever have like an at bat. So that was kind of the biggest thing. And I've worked with a handful of different marketing groups up until this point, and there wasn't ever a point where I felt like my voice was still coming across, and that relationship building things felt very salesy, and it wasn't consistent. And I just didn't think it was as educational as it could be. And so, in kind of just looking at some of the stuff that you've done for Denise, we're just like, hey, maybe this is a better fit. So I'd asked for an introduction from Dave, and had a conversation and just started using you guys. And then in looking at some of the stuff that you do, and where the success I'm seeing online with the other groups that you're working with is definitely the content and the educational stuff. And I absolutely know all of that stuff. And at the very beginning of my career, I did a bunch of recordings, and they're pretty cringeworthy now. I definitely don't want clients going back and looking at something I did back in 2013, just because I was not as confident as I am now in my process and how I do this. So being able to just kind of sit down and go through everything from start to finish and put as much information out there as I possibly can to educate clients it just made sense, because it's hard with doing the amount of volume that I do and wanting to deliver the type of experience for my clients and for my realtor partners that I do. It's hard to really carve out time to get a lot of that content done. And I can't do it in big chunks like I was able to accomplish yesterday. So, and if you've got a contract that's come in, or you've got a new lead that's coming in, that's absolutely going to take priority over recording another video. And as you can see, my background, I've got a cat tower and a cat sleeping and a piano. I've got a toddler upstairs. So, and when I'm at my office, like that's a great environment too, but it's not as professional as it could be. And this kind of environment, I think, is completely fine for the videos that I do within Mortgage Coach for clients and just quick one-off things. But to have something that is kind of timeless, because I'm not the delivery or the experience I'm trying to create for my clients and for my agents, that's not ever going to change. We definitely address some specific things happening in the market right now, but to have some of these timeless pieces in there within the recordings that we can keep using over and over is just, I think, really beneficial for the kind of business I'm trying to create and the longevity of the career I'm wanting to create.
Hey, can I ask you a quick question, Jacalyn? Because I know with social media, I leveraged it to build the Mortgage Coach community, and I absolutely get people who want to sign up, so call it lead gen. And then I absolutely have people, just when I go to events that are clearly tuning in, and just call it soft value.
Mm-hmm.
What is the hard value and the soft value? And again, I'm not looking for specific data, but could you just speak to the range of, when I did this, I got X leads. Speak to both the soft, measure value and the easy to measure value.
Yeah, I think when it comes to social media, at least in my experience so far, it hasn't really been like a lead generator from hey, I got this client because of this post. I think it's for me, it's been brand recognition, value recognition, and just knowing, no, I really am trying to educate you. And then in a roundabout way, I'll see a lead come through. Like an example I had over the weekend is one of my neighbors who I've had interactions with, but we've never talked about what I do for a living. She's added me on Facebook. I've posted a couple of things from my business page to my personal page. So now she sees what I do, and then she reached out. So I'm seeing this more organic lead gen, I guess, from that perspective, because they see the value I'm trying to push out there without being salesy, without being like, hey, you need to use me and here's why. It's more of a, hey guys, I'm seeing this thing happen, and so here's the information, and let me know if you have questions, kind of thing. So I'm trying to position myself as a person of like a resource for people in all spectrums, whether they're a client of mine or not, because eventually I'm going to win them over. That's my goal. And that's like obviously in the back of my mind all the time. But I really do believe you have to constantly create value for people to trust you in order for them to be, it's an easier referral now. And I see referrals coming in more frequently now because I'm more visible. And I can't honestly directly correlate, because I'm not getting leads per se directly, at like nobody's DMing me on Facebook, but I'm seeing leads that come in and I know kind of where they're coming from and probably what they've seen because I see the interactions on social. So it's kind of like this roundabout lead gen from that perspective.
Which is
So-
a very behavioral economic trait that I don't feel marketers talk about enough, especially with where the trends are headed with marketing and how even deceptive some Excel spreadsheets could skew data when you just look at it, on paper. But it's when someone fills out a lead form, which everybody knows that that's for marketing, how did you find out about us? And it may say Dave Savage, but that wasn't most likely, especially with millennials and Gen Zs. When you look at their psychology and how they buy, they are research obsessed. They want to be informed before they contact you. And I think it's important that anyone on this call understands that, yes, we think a lot of the buyers coming up will be the younger demographics, but guys, they were kids during the housing crash. So although they are typically better budgeters when it comes to understanding, that they need to save and invest, it's hard for them to do that because they carry a lot of student loans. But their parents were having some of those difficult conversations because the market was crashing. And so they naturally are not super trusting of anyone in the financial space. And I think you need to address that whole elephant in the room. And anyone who went to Amplify Live in August, when you watched that video, and I don't know, Dave, if you even have that video, but with all the, it was the basketball players and you were supposed to keep track of the basketball and how many times the basketball was passed.
Don't give the secret away.
Yeah, well, it reminds me of that because when someone goes and say they're giving your name, say Jacalyn, I'm going to do a little bit of research. And I want people to really put this in perspective because the reality of your business page or your Instagram interrupting somebody's feed is less than 4%. Branded posts are the hardest posts to ever get seen. And I just want y'all to understand the why and then the intention and the motive behind what you're doing, and hopefully building the client experience where you're building referrals that once someone is given your name and they land on your feed, they're going to scroll for a couple of feet and they're going to judge you on two things: warmth and competency. Can I trust this person? And are they competent enough where, if you think as a consumer, they're thinking, is this person going to screw me on rate and fees? I mean, that's really what they're thinking. But how do you measure that behavioral metric of what caused them to make the decision to then contact you? Because again, on a lead form, it's going to say, oh, my real estate agent, Dave. But you don't even know, kind of to Jacalyn's point, how many at-bats you're losing because you don't have a way to help frame the story of a consumer who is scared to get a mortgage. And even Jacalyn touched on this, she's been doing this for years. And every time, like, she pre-approved herself when she went to buy a home and she was still scared of, like, what if? And so I just think it's important for you all to understand that, maybe think about when was the last time you ever liked a business page, a Facebook business page? Can you even think of the last time you liked one of those pages? And then when was the last time you even liked or commented? And that metric has also drastically decreased, where I feel like people quit too early, and their commitment of what they say that their motive is to provide value and to provide education and to be a resource, it kind of falls flat when you give up after a few months and you're like, oh, I'm not getting likes and comments. There's no engagement. It's like, well, what's the real motive here? Is it for likes and comments? Because you have to understand people are scared to death to like and comment because they think they're going to get phantom ads that chase them because they can't even talk in their home about, a pair of shoes that they want without seeing it now on, their ads of their Facebook. And people just don't want to be marketed to. So we could make a post for Jacalyn on her business page and make the exact same post for her on her personal page. And we're going to get way more engagement or traction on a personal page because of delivery. It's the whole, would you rather have a steak and lobster meal on a silver platter or a trash can lid? Delivery in context matters, which is why with your social game, people are research obsessed. They're still going to go off of the word of mouth. So I will always say rock, paper, scissors, relationships trump every single time. We can get a lot of people to your door, but if your experience and your conversion and your ability to get back to people and your follow-up, that all affects your closing. So when people are like, oh, what can I expect for a rate of return or how many deals will I get this year? I'm like, what's your closing ratio? Do you track your numbers now? So to Jacalyn's point, I love that she's committed to the educational and awareness part, that regardless if those vanity metrics are there, because she's so dialed into her business, she already knows and can feel those behavioral metrics that, again, may not show up on an Excel spreadsheet, but is helping influence the decision to get someone to feel safe enough to contact you because you're about to expose them financially naked.
Yeah, I think that's so important. I feel like that's where loan officers get stuck, is they feel like they're going to have this immediate thing. They're going to, they're going to do these 5 posts, and all of a sudden their box is going to fill up with people wanting loans, and they just have to be patient, right? It's the whole idea that Rome wasn't built in a day. And you got to build it up over time in order to get the benefit that everyone's looking for.
Can I also add, I think another thing, and Jacalyn, I want to know if this is true for you, but when I went from just doing the Tuesday interview, which I've done for over 12 years, and I started doing that because I thought that there was a leadership missing. Enough companies didn't do good sales meetings, and I'm just one of those sales leaders that believes in a great weekly sales meeting creates a great culture and creates great execution. But when I started, I added the Friday, I interview at least 2 or 3 loan officers every week. I didn't do that just for marketing and for promotion. I did that because I thought I'd be a better CEO mortgage coach. I did that because I thought it would make my marketing team better. It would make my sales team better. I thought it would, it was all about personal improvement. So I've found the content that I create makes me better. Like, I am a better CEO of mortgage coach because of it. And Jacalyn, what do you say to that? Do you feel like the time you spend creating content, it makes you a better mortgage professional to both agents and to consumers? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a time to work in the business and there's a time to work on the business. And I think when you're working in it, that's you're working on your pre-approvals and reviewing conditions and that kind of thing. And working on it is, okay, what's my strategy? What's my business plan? And what's my social media going to look like this year and things like that. And I think that's kind of where that comes into play, because it gives you time to like, okay, well, what's going on in the market right now? And it's allowing you to be present and create that content and making sure that you're sharpening, like sharpening steel. It's just, you're constantly sharpening your process, your thoughts, your programs, your way of delivery and things like that. And I'm constantly looking at what other people are doing, even within my own office. I constantly look at, okay, what's Giuseppe working on and what's Chris Haber working on? And even some of my newer guys are doing stuff where I'm like, what's that? That's kind of a great idea. So there's always opportunity to grow and to find ways to be better and make little tweaks within your business plan and things like that. And it's, as Deb mentioned, it's all about consistency. And if you're going to go the route of investing in what's your social media presence, and it's not a good fit for everybody, to be honest, like not everybody likes doing that. Chris Haber in my office, he does almost no social media stuff and does a ton of business. And that's just how his business model works. And I'm not in his business model, so I don't know how that works. I know I'm better in front of people. I don't like doing cold calls because I can't relate to the client as well. So doing presentations, doing online presentations, putting together mortgage coach stuff, doing educational pieces online. I know I can sell myself that way as a person that you can trust, that's going to look out for your best interest. And I think it's constantly making me better. And I think the reason why we were able to get through a ton of video content yesterday, and I think part of that has to do with how many videos I started doing them early on, and I hated doing them. And I would do like 100 takes and I'm like, oh, I look stupid, or oh, my hair looks dumb. And now I'm just like, this is what I look like. This is what I sound like. It's not about that. No one cares about this. They care about what's the information you're giving me. And I'm a real life person that's trying to help you. And I think once you get over the ego of that piece and just be like, no, I'm trying to help people. And this is the best way to do it. Because you're totally fine, like having a face-to-face meeting. It's the same thing on a video. Like you look exactly the same. So you just have to get over that and just know, like when you make those little mistakes in video and stuff like that, it makes you a real person and it makes you human. And a lot of these clients, they're afraid to reach out to kind of get things started because they're like, hey, I've made some mistakes. And if you just making like a little flub in a message and just kind of moving on from it and not worrying about it being absolutely perfect, it makes you relatable to those people, which creates the trust and makes you more able to deliver more value and know that like, okay, no, this person, I can definitely trust them and we can kind of work through what I want to do next.
So I want to highlight a couple of things. One, I don't know if I've ever heard it said so well, but I think you started about 9:28, 9:29 and just described, you made a case for video and like get over it. I don't think, I mean, it's as good as I've ever heard it. So Deb, we might want to make some micro content around that. But tell me if you agree with this, because I have this belief that I could put 5 loan officers up and say, hey, explain to me the power of, you know, prepaying your mortgage. And each one of them would give a little 1 minute on that. And I would go top producer, second top producer, third top producer, last place based off of that. And so I have this thesis that when you have to create a video to share a strategy for a mortgage coach, you just become that much better at having that with every borrower, because now you had to go from 1-to-1 to 1-to-many. And then once you've done that 1-to-many, it's like, check, I got it. Do you feel like you're growing every time you share a new mortgage coach strategy in a one-to-many format?
Yeah, because I do, as I mentioned, I do a mortgage coach presentation for every single client that I talk to. And I record a video with every single mortgage coach that I put together. So, and I put the agents on those emails. So the client seeing it and the agent seeing it. And sometimes the agent forwards that to a bunch of other agents in their office, and then a whole bunch of other people see it. So it's getting the word out there. It's like, oh, there's another way of doing this. There's a better way to explain this. And I think I've even started with some questions that clients give me in emails that are maybe a little bit too complicated to explain in an email. And maybe I don't have time to jump on to a phone call right now. I'll jump on BombBomb, record a quick personalized response and kick it over to them. And it's just, it's creating just more, it's just a better delivery method, especially in the age of technology that we're in, to utilize video in that way to educate the masses. And then you can save that stuff to be an FAQ page to constantly refer clients back to that. Some of I mean, Giuseppe does this all the time with his clients, and he's a huge producer in my office. And so I know the power of video and just being able to communicate that better. It helps you better explain it. It allows you opportunities to answer questions that maybe you didn't think of because you're looking at this stuff every single day, day in and day out. And then we'll probably give you opportunities in the future to maybe present to a larger group of first-time home buyers or a large group of real estate agents. And it just, the more confident you are behind the information that you're sharing, the better received it's going to be. And my dad, who most of you guys know, is Dave Galagas, and he always says, you know, you're smarter than most of the people in the room when it comes to what you're talking about. And so as long as you're passionate and as long as you understand the information in the background, it's super easy to communicate it to people and just know it's like, hey, you know this. And if you don't know it, it's okay. And you can ask questions, and that's how we keep growing.
So real quick, how much production does Giuseppe do?
An ungodly amount.
I'm so proud of him. He was going to try to be on today's call, but he had a meeting.
Yeah, I want to say he did like 400 or 500 units last year. I can't remember.
Yeah, and over 200 million. And guys, and another thing that makes both Jacalyn and Giuseppe very special is that in experience.com, formerly known as Social Survey, that has over, I think it's over 30,000 loan officers use that platform now. And both of them are always in the top 100. So out of 30,000. And I actually don't know another loan officer other than Giuseppe that's actually been number 1 2 times. And so, what do I get from that? Like, these are mortgage professionals that are super successful, doing a lot of volume, getting some of the best customer satisfaction scores on planet Earth, and they're creating social media. So we'll put a link below to follow both Jacalyn and Giuseppe. And they also have something else in common. They're using plugandplaysm.com and the Deborah Byrd crew. So, check it out. So Todd, anything you want to say to that?
I want to throw 2 things in there of what Jacalyn said. So number 1 is, you've heard people say it before, but Jacalyn executed on it, right? They're doing frequently asked questions that she's putting into video to save time, right? So think about it. Remember how sometimes you get, I'll move back to the center of the screen now, Dave. Thank you. you get on the airplane, right? You get on some airplanes that are older, and then the person's like, oh, you pull the oxygen mask on, and then here's how you do the life vest, and they do it, they stand there and do it. Then you get on a new airplane, and what happens? The video screen comes down and it plays it for you. So they one-time it, so they don't have to do it over and over again. So that's exactly what Jacalyn said that she does and Giuseppe does, is they've one-timed it, and she just updated hers by flying out and doing that with Deb. And then the other thing I love that you said, Jacalyn, is you save time. When I don't have time for a long conversation, I just use BombBomb and send them a quick video. So think about that. Are there times in your business where you can do what Jacalyn did and say, you know what, I can add value. Not only am I giving them the information they want, but I'm putting my smiling face on it. Again, you're building that rapport that it's harder to build right now when you're not seeing people face to face. So I just love that. And I think it's something that the rest of you can do and improve your business and save yourself some time.
So what I want to add to that is your YouTube videos become almost an employee for you. That it is timeless. Like Jacalyn said, that these are educational messages that instead of an assistant probably having to send something out or having, a human having to answer the same question over and over, or if you're trying to scale, you will have years in your YouTube channel that, the moment it's 10 o'clock, it's a Saturday night, someone's asking you, hey, I just got my initial disclosures. Why is the cash to close so much higher than what you told me it was going to be? And you could literally say, hey, you know what? That's a great question. I've recorded this, quick YouTube video that goes over the why behind that. Go ahead and watch this. And if you have further questions, just, schedule some time on Monday with me. But it's a way for you to one time all those frequently asked questions. And this is what I want to share, a couple things. One, the content days that we do it's here in Plano in Dallas, Texas. And to me, it's really important that a busy loan officer, and that's what I hear most of the time. I have loan officers that say, I don't know what to post. I don't know when to post. I can barely keep up with guideline changes in the industry. How am I going to keep up with all the changes just with marketing? They just need to be able to get away and record and be done with it. And so I have found that if they don't take the time to just take a day, come to Plano, we have all the professional equipment, the cameras, the lights, the studio, the editing team. You just literally get to sit there and I'm asking questions because I know the industry, and Jacalyn gets the MVP award because we were able to get through content where all she had to do is I would say, no, I want you to sit here, change this. I'm changing the lights. I'm moving her to several different locations. So the backdrop is different, but the cameras and the lights and the professional recording, she just had to take one day, book her appointment. And now we are going to have probably a year full of YouTube videos that can also then be created into little micro pieces of content. We can also take some action shots into photos for her social media. And there's so many ways to create micro content from that video production day that to me, it's really essential to have some of those in your back pocket beyond just the traditional ones that you do maybe in your office or with a webcam, because the quality, there's a big difference. I mean, we have the wireless mics. And so in the professional cameras, not that there's anything wrong with the webcam, but it's no different than having professional photos of your family. It's good to have those, maybe every quarter or a couple times a year where, you're conveying your message in a professional way. But I also want to say, every week for a client of ours, and it doesn't matter what package you choose, I send a weekly email out. I call it my rock stars, because when you're one of our clients, you're now a rock star, and we're amplifying your greatness. But I have a private group and an email list where I'm giving you 2 video ideas every single week, and I hyperlink examples, and I'm going in and I'm looking at the Google Trends and the nerdy side of marketing to see what are consumers searching, what is it that they want to know. I even was able to ask Jacalyn, just on the spot questions that she had no idea what I was going to ask. I mean, some of it's just a very creative space, which is sometimes really hard for loan officers because you can be so high C personalities, or, you want to know exactly how it's going to go, exactly what questions are going to be asked. And it's sometimes a flow. And when you have someone as experienced as Jacalyn, it does make it really easy to get through the content because it makes it feel more natural, where I'm just asking the questions that she's probably already being asked right now. And she knows her craft. So it's not something that she has to then go study and research. But if you're a loan officer that's like, I know I need to do this and I just don't ever know what to post, and you don't want to take the time to research it yourself, those of you who are in our group, you are getting 2 video hooks every single Monday that if you just time block your day. And Todd, I don't even know if you know this, but Adam is with Win by Noon. We are creating our pipeline like perfect week for Win by Noon, while sandwiching in some social media, best practices, so that when you're planning out your week, if you carve out, and I say take 30 minutes every Monday. How many hours do you have left over, Todd? I think it's 75 hours a week you have left over from the 168 that we have total. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay.
Yep.
And so if you took 30 minutes every Monday and you just time blocked for 2 videos that you record, you don't even have to think about what to say or which things that should be your hooks, because we provide that for you. So I just love that there's clients out there like Jacalyn who really care and are using Mortgage Coach and are disciplined and finding the new financial tips and strategies to help better serve their clients while spreading their truth and their message with social. And I know it's scary, and sometimes you'll post things and maybe you say something incorrectly, or you have a critic say whatever that they're going to say, but you push through it. And Jacalyn's bold enough to even sing. She makes up songs and writes songs, and even wrote a song on the airplane on the way back just yesterday. So anyways, I appreciate you, Jacalyn. I appreciate you being authentic and vulnerable and showing all sides of you, not just, the originator, where I know for certain if I needed advice or I needed help, not only are you going to give me great advice, but you're going to fight for me too. And I could feel that grittiness that you don't take no easily.
All right, so Deb, so if someone wants more information, just reach out to you at info@plugandplaysm.com, or is there something better?
No, marketing at plugandplaysm.com. And just to kind of to hit on the title of this too, we have an influencer package that we will personally log into your personal Facebook page every morning. We wish your friends happy birthday Monday through Friday. We strategically will group your friends from like prospects A, B, C. So those of you who have like your key players that are sending you business, or maybe prospects that you want sending your business. I mean, Sydney Savage is our Savage in the group, who is our client relations like guru. And, she's currently being coached by Bill Hillstead as well. So we do have some upcoming programs where we will marry some of the brand awareness type social media along with using certain hashtags that will automate ads, so that there are ways to get your brand more exposure. So be on the lookout, and maybe we'll interview Sydney soon and we'll talk about this. But know that, Sydney every day goes in as you and is doing relationship management, which also helps that symbiotic relationship where the algorithms know, okay, you're interacting with this person, there's a relationship here. So the worst thing you can do is post and ghost, which is when you just throw up a post and then you get off the platform. It's always best to warm it up and you like and comment strategically on the accounts that you want a relationship with, then make your post, then like and comment. And know that we have, the captain of our team who oversees that is Sid, and she's making sure, it's quite the task that any new influencer we onboard, she will go in and make sure that those groups are set up so that it's a strategy for social media, but also relationship management as an extension to your CRM. So that you're looking for which of your clients just had a baby, who just got married, which agent of yours that you're trying to not have to make a cold call on. So you're just showing them some love on social and you're just nudging a little bit. We have a solution for that too.
Awesome. So Jacalyn, I want to make sure we know all the ways you're using media, because I have this quote that I shared at the Digital Mortgage Summit saying that tech companies are, they're not going to put you out of business, but loan officers that use technology and media are absolutely going to take market share and put loan officers out that don't do it. So I know for sure you use, you put a video on your Mortgage Coach, but if you could speak to the, start from that, like the simple, I don't know if you use text video, like do you text videos, but give us, every time you're giving advice and every time you're creating media and what your platforms are, could you just give us the inventory of everything that you do?
Yeah. So obviously I do Mortgage Coach. And like I said, I always include a video in there. I use that multiple times throughout the process. And then go ahead.
Could you tell us the different times you do it? I mean, I want to know
Sure.
every video and every piece of content you create.
Yeah.
Different channels.
Yeah. So with Mortgage Coach, when I have the initial conversation with the client, when I send them numbers, usually same day or within 24 hours, and I include the agent on that. And so I include a video there. The video is really, at that point, is really just to touch on what they're seeing. I'm not trying to explain anything. It's a quick video, maybe a minute to a minute and a half, but really just like, hey, thank you for your time. Here's what you're looking at. Here's where you can find. Don't worry about the numbers. We're going to go through them in greater detail. I just want you to know what you're looking at. And then I schedule a meeting with them after the fact to do a full review of everything, adjust numbers and what have you. And then throughout the process, once they're pre-approved, I will update the Mortgage Coach based on specific properties that they're looking at or whatever the case may be if we're adjusting numbers. And then once we go under contract, if we're comparing multiple ways of doing the loan, then I'll utilize Mortgage Coach again before we lock. And then after closing, we use it for first payment reminders, how to pay off your debt faster and things like that. And then I use it for like refinance scenarios. I use it for my annual reviews and things like that. So that's kind of the Mortgage Coach side of it. And then as far as other video that I do, I use BombBomb quite a bit. I do pipeline updates with BombBomb twice a week, purchases on one day, refinances on other days. And I send that out just because I don't have capacity to call everybody individually. So it's easier for me to just send out a quick video to all the parties on the transaction. Here's where we're at. Here's what's happening next. Here's when you're going to hear from me. Just keeps my phone from ringing for update calls. Because I feel like if I'm getting an update call, I've missed an opportunity to connect with the client. Or if I just need to explain something that just would be easier explained verbally versus a long drawn out email. And then as far as like social media is concerned, that's mostly educational or me being a smart aleck, making some kind of goofy reel about why you shouldn't live in your mom's basement anymore, or a singing parody or whatever the case may be. So I utilize that quite a bit. And then I use other forms of media too. So I do like sponsorships for different events that are going on. I do snail mail still. I send out, I'm doing a 12-month postcard campaign right now for clients and for real estate partners. And I have that all kind of planned out for the rest of the year and different events, different educational events for real estate agents and stuff like that. So I'm trying to play to my strengths, what I know I'm really good at and what I know I enjoy doing. And those are the types of marketing and relationship building that I do. So I've learned along the way that there's some things that I'm really, really good at, and there's some things that I absolutely hate doing. So I'm not going to. So I try to just figure out, okay, I know I like this and I know it's a good way to get in front of clients. So how can I really take that up another level?
So I want to make sure I'm clear on that. I know you're doing video on Instagram because that's where I see the most.
Mm-hmm.
Are you also pushing those same videos on Facebook or just focused on?
Yeah, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube.
Okay, Facebook, YouTube. And then what is your YouTube strategy? Are you doing how-tos? What are you doing with YouTube?
I don't know. You got to ask
question,
Deb.
Dave.
Okay.
Deb's in charge of YouTube.
It sounds like you're going to be upgrading your YouTube game, which
yes.
Here's a couple things, guys. And if you're new in the business, what you just heard, you can't do it all. But the Mortgage Coach video is the easiest, it's the most personal, and it will make you better at everything else. So I would make that your home base. I think, a BombBomb or one of the competing platforms, just think of it as email video. It's awesome. But then pick your channels. And I do think YouTube is the best just because you got a home base where you always have those, FAQs, those how-tos and everything. But I'll let Deb speak to that. One last question. Do you do text videos where a thank you or a text video at all?
No, because I'm horrible at responding to text messages in my regular life. I can't imagine how much worse I'd be with it in my work life. So if I need like a quick one-off thing from a client, I'll use texting, but that's really the only way that I use it. Because it just, like I said, it doesn't work for me. So it's just not the best way for me to communicate.
Not a problem. We have had a lot of loan officers that are using text video, guys. So consider that as a channel. And I use it. I put a text video a lot on things, but cool. Deborah.
I really feel like men have an upper hand there and an advantage of doing those video messages because y'all can put on a t-shirt and barely do your hair, and some of the women were wearing yoga pants and have no makeup on, but I will say this, I grew. Oh, go ahead.
before you go, I wanted to make sure I connected the dot because it's one of the reasons why I love referring you business, and I love that you're kind of the mortgage coach, social media guru. Clearly, my daughter works for you, so that is. But she probably wouldn't be working there if I didn't believe this. But guys, one of the things that also differentiates Deborah, a lot of social media consultants, like they specialize in Instagram, they specialize in YouTube, or they do all of it. Deborah gets the mortgage coach video. Deborah gets all of the different types of video, whether they're social media or not, out there. So anyways, I just wanted to shine a light on you for that, because I do think that's one of the things that makes you unique and special as a coach and consultant.
Well, I just got my mortgage coach t-shirt in the mail, so I can't wait to wear it on Friday. But I will tell you, that's where I put the squeeze on my clients. I mean, I only do this for the mortgage industry. I don't do this for any other industry. It's not mass production. It is very educationally driven. And I'll tell you, part of the squeeze is, as I tell my clients, I want and expect a TCA Tuesday every week, where whether you go live or you pre-record it and upload it to StreamYard, which, huge shout out to Giuseppe, who originally told me he was not going to be on social. And here he is going live using StreamYard almost every week. But it makes you, my social media strategy for clients, it makes you prospect and it makes you up your game and up your standards, because I have high standards. I don't do this for the transactional based lender. That's just not the type of lender that we choose to work with. And it's why I'm so committed to this community, is because I feel like if you're in this mortgage coach community, then you care to give better service and you really want to help families get into debt in smarter ways. And that is our core values. Is together, I feel like if I have enough advisors out there who are pushing out my educational content through them, then maybe together we can change the world and the financial crisis that we're in. But I put the squeeze on them. And so every Tuesday, I'm giving them examples of a different type of TCA that they could teach and go live one-to-many, because I do believe that when you show a TCA, that is the best way to differentiate yourself, that you are a lender who thinks differently, that you show not only how options today may affect your monthly payment and cash to close, but how your decisions may impact you over time, which is what I feel like most people can't give that advice. I also put the squeeze where I'm pushing people to do Wednesday webinars, very similar to this, where you would have to actively prospect to interview family law attorneys, probate, credit repair, maybe it's home decor, but your financial advisors, life insurance agents. And I say, go live on Wednesdays and have a very informal Q&A where guys will create the social media graphics that you then send to that family law attorney, who then sends that graphic to their entire database, who then both of you are going live, and you're leveraging their trust in their database when you do that. So there's a method to the madness of why I request certain content in the way that we do. And I tell new clients this a lot, that your social media rank score is very similar to a credit score. You have different credit types, whether it's installment, revolving, credit history, credit utilization, and all of those factors help create a credit score. That's no different than social media. You have different social media types. So whether that's a reel, a story, going live, a graphic post, long caption, short caption, you have social utilization. How consistently are you posting? And I will tell you, you need to be posting every day. And that's going to be impossible. And you're probably thinking, how do I have time for that? That's why the A players and people like Jacalyn, they've learned the law of leverage, where they can leverage out as much as possible to have somebody else doing at least the educational graphics that's consistently getting done, that solves that biggest pain point. So all she has to focus on is the human side of the brand. That's actually her. So it gives her brand life and conviction and energy. And so don't think that you have to do it all. Learn to get good at leveraging out those admin type tasks so that you can just focus on the personal human side of the brand, because that is the most human brand wins today.
Yeah, I think that's just so huge. And I think that's where most people get stuck, right? It's the whole idea on what am I going to say? When am I going to do it? And that's really where you are given the easy button and given that coaching and, hey, here's a quick script. And then you get to own that script and deliver it out to your audience. That's just why it's so easy.
Yeah, literally every week I spoon feed them of Monday, do this. Tuesday, here's your TCA. Wednesday, here's the person you should be interviewing. Thursday, this. Friday, this. Weekend, this. And you get that every week in your inbox. Or if you're in our private group, that it's just a collaborative learning space of here's how you do a reel. And I go in there and I'm showing how you do transitions or little how-tos that I only give, to that group because I feel like they're the rock stars and I really want to amplify their gifts so that families know who to contact when they're making their largest purchase. And I wish I would have met a mortgage coach advisor when I bought my first home and when my family had our home that was growing up. So I appreciate the mortgage coach community, those who are in the Win by Noon mastermind group and use their Win by Noon planner so they can execute at a high level and make sure that, these things get done.
Well, I do love that. I did know that you and Adam are working on that. In fact, we're meeting on it yesterday. He said, oh yeah, I'm so excited about it. So, of course you're his favorite. I'm like, all right, well, I don't get it with Adam, but if you want something done, he does it for you, which is truly awesome. I love that piece of it. And I do think, what I applaud you for, Jacalyn, is taking action and flying out to Texas for a day. I feel like so many of us have said, oh gosh, I should totally record my FAQ, say, oh my gosh, I should record some videos. I should do this recording day that I keep hearing people talk about, and they just don't do it. And the fact that you just said, heck yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to fly out there and get it done. I think that is a big commitment, but most importantly, you just took action. And I feel like, I always end these calls with, hey, it's time to take action and do something with it. So what would either one of you say to the person who's still sitting here thinking, oh yeah, this sounds really good, but feels overwhelmed? Like, what's their first step to do in order to get this ball rolling downhill versus trying to push it up?
Well, obviously take action, and anyone can go to our website and schedule a content day or a free discovery call where we can talk through, the different packages and maybe what would be a good solution for them. But I do want to point out, Jacalyn's busy. Jacalyn's a mom. Jacalyn has an adorable 15-month-old son and could have the same excuses that some of you may have where it's like, when do I have time? How can I schedule a flight? But if she didn't take the time to be here and be fully present where she didn't have to worry about work because she's out of her office, it was one day for the year to just escape and have someone point and say, sit here, do this, change this outfit, and it's all going to be edited and hand delivered to her. That to me is such a time saver because now you don't have to mentally think about it every Monday. Now it's just you freely doing it where we can schedule out the post with our scheduling tool. So it's more of a plug and play with no mental draining of like, I know I need to do this. I know I need to do this. And that wears you out. So Jacalyn, I'd love to hear how you would answer that for Todd.
Yeah, I would say pick one thing and start doing that. And because you can't, I think Dave said it earlier, it's like, you can't do everything. And especially the newer LOs, you're just like, oh, I have all these ideas and I want to try to do everything. And it's impossible to do everything really, really well. So pick one thing that you're going to do. And maybe it's, you're going to start with the mortgage coach and do a TCA every single time you speak with a client and make sure that there's a video included in there. And just start getting super comfortable on video. That way, when you're ready to take that next step and do a content day with Deborah, you are able to utilize that time so much better because you're already used to constantly being on video and getting that set up. And I think that's going to be the very best immediate value add, because then you can start recording additional videos to put up onto your social media and things like that. So I would pick one thing that you think you'd be really successful at and just start doing it consistently, and then start adding in the other pieces, because yeah, it can feel very overwhelming very quickly. And that's probably the very best advice anybody gave me. That's the advice I give all of the new loan officers that come to work for us. And that's really the best way to start and to know that you'll be able to stay consistent.
Love it. All right. Well, that's going to be my action plan for the rest of you. Choose one thing. I would tell you that Deborah earlier this year challenged me every Monday, which is my busiest, craziest day, to go live. And I've done it consistently. I've nailed it 4 or 5 Mondays in a row. Yay, go me. But
Yay.
I figured that. And then now I'm looking at it and saying, okay, well, what am I going to start doing Tuesday through Sunday so that I'm more consistent in doing the one post a day that she says I need to do. Although I do have Plug and Play doing it for me for Win by Noon and Modern Mortgage Summit and Modern Real Estate Summit. However, I got to interact with it. So I know that there's plenty of room for me to grow. So join me on the journey, people.
Hey, Todd, real quick, did you upload your webinar from yesterday? I was doing the content day, so I didn't. Is that on YouTube?
That's on my to-do list for today. So my webinar will be up there. Yeah, which was very enjoyable.
I just want to point out to everybody, it's February 1st. If January went by quickly for you, then know that February is the shortest month of the year. make sure you're looking at your numbers, tracking your numbers. Did you meet your goals? And, with the whole Tom Brady and thinking about the Super Bowl coming up, I had posted this in my group that would anybody go to the Super Bowl or watch it if you didn't keep score? And how do you know when you need to, play harder, or not that you wouldn't ever play hard, but you've got to track your numbers and know where you're at. And that's what I love about Win by Noon and the Win by Noon planner. And I'm sure you went over that yesterday, Todd, where people could go back and watch as soon as you get that uploaded. So make sure that gets done on your success list today.
It'll go up there. Yeah, it's really how to do a monthly review, right?
Oh.
We're 8.33% through the year. And so it's how do you actually review what you did in January and then set your plans in place for February. So it was great. I enjoyed the calls, about 30 minutes. So I'll get it up there and you can all watch it on YouTube.
So guys, we are going to wrap this up. Todd and I are going to do a quick Facebook Live because it is TCA Tuesday, and we'll be live in our group within a matter of minutes. And we'll be talking about what we think some of the best TCA Tuesday strategies will be. Deborah, I don't know if you have to go to another meeting, but if we can have you join us, or you can add some comments and get out there, guys. Do a TCA Tuesday social media post today. That, if Deborah wants it to be a Facebook Live, but could just be you providing some words, describing a story of a family that you helped with a TCA. So you're showing everybody who follows you, I'm an advisor. Working with me is not just about closing loans. Working with me is about getting value. Heather, the Facebook group is Mortgage Coach Productivity Mastermind. So you could do a search on that, and we'll make sure we put a link to that post in the Facebook group. Well, I guess you won't get it in the Facebook group. Heather, we'll reach out to you and make sure you get a link, but go to Facebook and check it out. Guys, this is a wrap. Jacalyn, thank you so much for the inspiration you bring. I'll be in touch to schedule a mortgage coach top producer interview with you so we can hear more details around what you're doing. Take care.
That's great. Thanks, guys.
Oh.